would like now to ask A.Užkalnis to take a floor. You all know A.Užkalnis. He's a kind of a provocative person. I don't know how to introduce you, Andrius. You are a publicist, you are essayist, you are a man of letters. And please speak to us about how Lithuania became British over these 20 years. It's a very provocative title, I guess.
Thank you. Ambassador, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. We're supposed to be talking about British Council today, but it would be a wrong thing to do. It would be very un-British to glorify structures and bodies. This is how the French would behave, with all due respect. This is why today, celebrating the anniversary of British Council in Lithuania, I want to talk about its achievements in my country. Some of you know that while you, the British Council people, were in Lithuania working hard, communicating British values and ideas, I spent a bit less, almost 17 years, in Britain trying to become an adopted Englishman so that when I go back, I could be annoying and patronizing to my former compatriots and to people who used to call themselves my friends. I did succeed. The time spent in the Royal County of Berkshire formed me into an insufferable commentator and social nuisance, not to mention TV personality, a newspaper columnist, and a food reviewer that we all know and love today. I'm the subtle revenge that Britain sent back to Lithuania to pay back for all the drunk driving, thieving, fellow stabbing characters that invaded the happy isles of Britain over these decades. Mission accomplished. What is less known and not so readily discussed is that those 2 decades turned Lithuania into a country which feels more and more like Britain in a good way. I'm not talking about being able to buy Marks and Spencer's food in the center of Vilnius, although this is a good thing, apart from the imported habit of staffing only half the tills, except for Christmas time, when only 1/3 of tills are staffed and extra tea breaks are introduced. I'm not even talking about being able to get a cup of milky tea or that Shakespeare hotel in the street where I live in Vilnius, the epitome of British style and tradition, is internationally considered the best hotel in Vilnius. It's actually one of those imitations of Britishness that turns out to be better than the original. This is not about Barclays' logo being visible from much of the central Vilnius, although it's a great deal to boast about. And it's not even about the amazing ability and readiness of Lithuanians to use English expressions, for want of better Lithuanian word. Think about how Lithuanians go, "Aww," when they see something cute or endearing. This is the English word that is now fully part of Lithuanian language. Now, I think it is about the things that we collectively learned as a nation. I'm talking about habits and learned behaviors that are here, which were not around 2 decades ago. First of all, Lithuanians learned to know, recognize, and love the value of understatement. This was a long cultural journey, and not everyone has arrived yet, but we're getting there. This is a massive departure from the Soviet habits and worse still, peasant vulgarity, which is erroneously revered as a truly authentic way of being Lithuanian, much like the dismissive approach to body hygiene. Being subtle rather than bold, making and taking hints, and being more suggestive than descriptive is a peculiarly British trait, and I think Lithuanians have achieved a huge progress in taking this on board. I think that those Lithuanians who are choosing the UK as a country for their studies are also demonstrating the best in motivation, as opposed to studies in countries like France, Spain, or Italy, which has seen as a neat way to extend the freeloading period in life. I see young people who go to study in Britain as a result-oriented crowd. They're individuals who think about results and not the process. They're thinking about what skills and knowledge they're going to sell and how. This I admire as a fantastic transformation, as opposed to the old way of worrying about getting your diploma and assuming that then somebody else will take care of you. Lithuania today does not have 1/4 of its young people, like some other countries, out of work, thanks not only to countries like Britain and Ireland importing our talent, but also thanks to more mature thinking about our future, and in this I see a purely British influence. I think contacts with Britain modified our social habits and aspirations in terms of what behavior is considered desirable. Stiff upper lip, ability to persevere, shut up and bear it, are the most impressive changes in terms of how Lithuanians increasingly want to see themselves. Loud in your face, overt display of emotion is no longer what Lithuanians want to be seen as doing, especially in the class of young and successful. Vulgarity is out. Gentle and soft power is in. Lithuanians, especially the younger generation, are visibly reforming even their approach to humor. Once considered a narrowly defined and dangerous concept, appropriate only perhaps on April Fool's Day, sense of humor is increasingly becoming a necessary attribute of a well-rounded character. You're now expected to be able to shrug your shoulders and joke when you occupy a certain position in life. If this is not a British influence, I don't know what is. This is about the following. When the outgoing Prime Minister, when he was criticized for introducing cost-cutting measures at the expense of the people, replied that he would have loved to do that at the expense of little green men from Mars, but unfortunately budgets of the humans can only be cut at the expense of the humans. I think that 10 years ago no Lithuanian politician would have said this. This is a true British style. I accept that Lithuanians have a long way to go before they perfectly emulate the British, and it would take many decades of reform and many decades of effort to change all the habits, and believe me, the ability to signal before maneuver in a motor vehicle will be the last thing to be introduced. But the other day I realized nothing can stop the progress when I saw that we Lithuanians learned to do what I thought we never will. We can now queue patiently and without complaining, and I blame the British for that. Thank you.